What does grace look like to you? How do you know when it's time to give it? How do you feel when you're trying to seek it? Can you earn it? Is it unearned? Is it unmerited? And what do we do when people cross the line? We're going to talk about this and more on the next episode of Mama We Made It with DJ and Ray. Yo,
What's
good
up,
morning.
Kappa Alpha Psi?
You know what it is. You know, a little in my bag as we come to, the beginning of a new season. The leaves are starting to change outside. Fall is my favorite season. Not that I'm rushing summer out the pain, but I'm excited about it.
Is it your love of NFL football that brings such excitement?
Man, I'm in 3 fantasy leagues. I've been checking it all out. Man, I have not seen a game. I ain't seen no preseason.
Okay.
I ain't watching ESPN. I ain't seen nothing about the league whatsoever. I'm so far behind the NFL right now, and I don't miss it. So I'm gonna see if I can hold this posture to about week 16, and I'll start pulling for the Ravens again.
Okay, so quick question before we officially kick this thing off.
Yep.
Who are your starting quarterbacks?
No, I'm seriously. I was lying. I am not in a fantasy football league. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. If I had a league, it'd be Lamar Jackson, or I would just quit on GP.
Well, it was a portal for me to brag about the fact that I do have Lamar Jackson as my quarterback this year.
How many teams in your league?
Unfortunately, 12. I
Okay,
think
that's
we're
a decent
actually
size.
too decent. I think we're actually starting to create an NFL size league now. 12 is really tough to win. 10 is tough, yeah, but 12, and then, it's hard to pick up players, whatever, man. But you know what? It's fantasy football, man, so we just have fun with it.
You just in one league?
This year, I'm only in one league. Because it gets tough, man. You end up competing against yourself at times.
Sure.
Because if you have competing quarterbacks, it's tough. So, yep, just one league, man.
Well, good luck in your league, man. I hope that you win the brass ring, the Lombardi trophy, or whatever it is that comes your way.
We'll see, man. I've had some success so far, back-to-back championships, but I'm a gamer or a go. I'm either a losing season or I win it all.
Is gamer a goat? Is one of those a losing? Is gamer losing but goat is winning? What does that mean?
Goat back in the day actually meant you were a literal goat.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
The old school reference.
yeah.
You did not want to be that goat.
Right, you didn't want to be that.
Gotcha.
Scapegoat, goat, whatever. But yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, man, we'll see what happens. I'm optimistic.
What's good in your world?
I want to get to it, man, but I'll allow you to have the floor to.
Chops.
Well, we want to welcome our folks as you do. I don't want to step in front of that.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. That's DJ. I'm Reg, and I'm turning the microphone over to my man.
I have a question for you, man. I know you travel a lot. You are, in my humble opinion, an introvert who can play an extrovert's role very well, strategically and when you want to. But life can just bring you these episodes, man. And my fundamental question for you is, how do you decide to extend grace to someone who has treated you in a way that you find potentially disrespectful but unwarranted? How do you decide to extend grace?
Okay, that's deep. Firstly, it's a great question. I hear my mother's voice right now. It was instilled and drilled in my head at home in Sunday school growing up. Grace is the unearned favor of God, right? And so grace is something you get that you don't deserve. And it's the other side of the coin of mercy, which is not getting something that you do deserve, right? And so grace, I'm not even sure it's for me to give, but when someone I feel like has wronged me, I'm a huge believer in second chances. Um, I'm not a fan of being disrespected. And so I
Got it.
struggle if the whatever the conflict is grounded in disrespect. I have a hard time forgetting, let alone forgiving. If it is a disagreement gone awry and tempers got flared and something happened, I can come back around on that pretty quickly. So the short answer to your question is, as long as I don't feel like the origin of the conflict was grounded in intentional disrespect, I'm willing to let a lot of shit go.
Okay. Do you have an instance or an example where you most recently had to make that decision?
I do. I'm hesitant to put it on wax because it doesn't directly involve me.
Okay, how about I share one,
Yeah,
and then
why
you,
don't I
okay,
defer on
and
that?
then you can think about whether or not with DJ just extended himself. So pause. So let me share one, man. So I told you I've been taking hot yoga classes here for the past few months, and I
Yep.
love it, man. Life changing. People are probably tired of me talking about it, but it's part of releasing the toxins. Are you familiar with the term? This is not a test, but I know you've taken some yoga in the past. Shavasana.
I've heard the term. I forget what it means.
Yeah. It's basically the dead corpse pose. At the end of total silence, you kind of lay back like a dead fly. All right. So that is the way you basically end these yoga classes. So I was so zoned out during the yoga purse that I didn't realize we had entered into Shavasana, which is the last 2 minutes. So as we're nearing the end, I can tell we're probably at our 60 minutes. I'm zoned out. Now we're winding down. I don't catch that we're entering Shavasana, which is you can't even really breathe. It's like don't say a word. What do? I get up, not realizing we're in Shavasana, man. I start wiping off my mat, gather my weights, all this kind of stuff. And then I see people looking at me. I'm like, why are y'all tripping? I'm just leaving a little early. It's not that big of a deal, right? So I get a mean mug from one young lady. I'm like, we're going to have to talk when I step outside. I don't know why you're looking at me like that. I exit the class. So I'm grabbing some water, putting on some hand sanitizer. A lady comes out of the class and looks at me crazy. I almost think she's not even looking at me. And then she says, you've been coming here enough. You know better. Oh, exactly. That's not how you come to me. I admit I was wrong. What you say is, do you mind if I just grab you for a second? Because I think she worked there.
Okay.
Grab me for a second, pull me aside, say, hey, we just asked that. No harm, no foul, but we just asked. No one lost a life in there. But she came at me in front of people. So obviously for me, she got extended no grace. And I definitely responded in a way, don't you ever come at me, whether it's in front of anyone or not, like that again. I said, now, it just clicked to me what I did was inappropriate. I said, I didn't do it on purpose and I've never done it. I was zoned out. I apologize. But don't you ever come at me again like that. Oh, then the whole passive aggressive thing starts to come. No, stand on it. Stay in it. So I had that moment. I ended up leaving the class, man. I'm like, so in that case, she got extended no grace. For me, similar to you, man, it's about respect. There's always a way to do it the right way. I was wrong, and I admit that. But she also didn't have a track record with me. So that's one recent example where she can come back to me and I'll extend some grace, but you owe me an apology. You got something you
No, keep going. No.
That's it. No, that's it, man. So it happened yesterday. That's why I'm still in it.
But it can she get grace from you if the premise is you owe me an apology?
Yes.
How's that work?
Here's how it works. Because I'm going to see her again. She's going to see me again.
Yes.
Hey, about last week. Yes. Want to apologize. I got it all scripted out first. Maybe I should just give it a script, right? About last week. I want to apologize. I came at you inappropriately. I will immediately apologize. I didn't even get a chance to really apologize the way I wanted to. Come back and acknowledge that you came at me wrong. That's how we start the conversation.
So I do believe that grace is unearned. And
Ah,
I think in your scenario, it could go another way, which is next time you see her, you step to her and you say, "Hey, I didn't love how last week went, but I'm letting that go. I apologize for my role in that." And you give her the opportunity to apologize in kind. And if she doesn't, it's cool, you keep it pushing. But holding tight to your spot till she apologizes, I'm not sure that's grace.
there's an argument that grace is unmerited.
I think that's the definition, right?
Okay.
Unearned, unmerited for sure.
Potentially. I'm not God. I'm not Jesus Christ, right? Right. If it's not disrespectful, I agree. This to me was disrespectful. She had time to think about how she was going to approach me.
Sure.
There are people behind her also listening to this conversation, right?
Sure.
And it was crazy how she came at me. For me to, I'll call it acquiesce and come to her with, hey, by the way, about last week, I think that's her job. Plus, I'm also the client.
She works here. She's an employee of the firm.
Well, she sure acted like she was.
You go in there next week, she's going to be on the mess. You're like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm like, do you own the place? So, and she might. But I hear you. I hear you. And I'll be 100% real. It's going to depend on the mood I'm in when I walk in there.
Sure.
100% going to depend on that.
1,000%.
If I'm having a great day and, there's butterflies outside and I walk in and I see her, I might say, hey, can we talk for a second? If I'm not, don't even look at me. Unless you have an apology.
Yeah. Two things come to mind in your story. One is the tendency, the need for folk to publicly chastise us. And by us, I mean black folk.
That's the big kicker.
Right. Like you can see from elementary school to our current stage how our kids get disciplined at higher levels for the same types of incidences. And there's always a need to make a public example of us, particularly when they feel like they got the righteous, higher ground. Invariably, they're leading with ego in their discipline, and they're not leading with justice. And invariably, to your point, it ends up with a situation like you got. Happens all the time. Matter of fact, the example I was thinking of, without putting a fine point on it, involves someone who I love dearly dealing with their coach and their disagreement with the coach and how the coach has handled it.
Okay.
I'm not involved in the situation, but I'm watching, this interaction, and there's a tremendous amount of performative public display that could be handled best behind closed doors.
Interesting.
And there's something about when we are perceived to have crossed a line that people feel the need to lecture us, to educate us, much in the same way, we saw recently with Ostapenko and Taylor Townsend, right? Ostapenko felt like some etiquette had been breached, and it's on me to call you classless and uneducated. As time goes on, she looks crazier and crazier in that context. So, that's the thing that comes to mind. There's just this tendency to want to, not to call it a lynching, but to make that public statement a thing. Shit, I'm getting old. I forgot my second point. Completely forgot my second point.
That was lengthy enough. You could probably break that up into 2 points. So I'm extending grace. Yes.
Yeah, I think for me, and as I listen to you talk for you, how much does ego affect whether or not we extend grace in a situation. And I heard you say, depending on my mood and depending on whether or not I felt like it was a lack of respect, will color my response. And I just wonder, as we are on our own development to be the best we can be, how our ego can play a role in whether or not we extend grace or not. If I
Uh,
felt like I was embarrassed, if I felt like you were trying to sun me, am I less likely to extend grace? And if so, does that somehow tarnish what we're trying to build in terms of our own spirit and health?
well, I think we always have to have up, especially as black folks moving through this world with everything around us, things we just can't ignore.
Mm-hmm.
We always have to have a sixth sense, seventh sense, whatever you want to call it, around how people treat us.
Yes.
And inevitably, I am probably the only black person, definitely the only black male in there. And most often, the only black person in there. And my question becomes, would you approach one of them the same way? I
Yep.
don't think so.
Rarely.
So that fundamentally, for me, is the difference maker. Can I see you talking to Isabella walking out of that class the same way? Would you do that to her? I don't think you would. And that, for me, I got to make that decision. Here's the other part, Perse. You're also fully aware, as a white female, of all the racial dynamics that exist today in this world. If not, you're living under a rock. And you're a yogi. You know better. It's not just that I know better. And if you don't know better, I also have to leave this as a teaching experience for you. Like, you got to learn. And that's how I approach it. Is it right or wrong? I'm less concerned about that, but this is going to be a learning moment for you as well. Now, my spirit will rest regardless. Because what I'm finding, man, less and less am I concerned about what other folks think about me. Almost, it could be to a fault.
Sure.
But I do have to enter that class again. I'm also representing black males when I enter that class.
Yeah.
I'm representing a lot of things, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
But you're never going to disrespect me, and you're never going to do it in front of people. And you wouldn't treat them that way. And I was wrong.
So I was going to ask you, how easy is it for you to say I was wrong?
Today, extremely.
Okay.
Because it's not an indictment on me.
Sure.
Right? It's not, if I can't say I'm sorry or I was wrong, that actually is more of an indictment on me, to me. Right? And what I did say to her was, you know, other people left that class as well. You didn't say anything to them.
But be clear, though, it wasn't the leaving, though, right? It was the...
At the time, I thought it was.
Oh, check.
Then it started to click with me. Yeah, it's Shavasana. That's the dead corpse pose. Right? So then it started to, because then I saw everybody else coming out. I'm like, that was the last 2 minutes, dog. So it hit me then, right?
So no, as I'm listening to you talk and I'm putting myself in your shoes, there are some unwritten rules that she violated, right? That are triggers for me. Don't raise your voice at me. I don't raise my voice at people. I don't yell at people. So don't be raising your voice at me. Don't be wagging your finger in my face, right? And don't talk to me with the tone that says, I work for you or I serve at your pleasure. And it sounds like she hit on one, two, maybe all three of those as triggers. And for me, I'd have been triggered, and I don't know how I would have responded, but it wouldn't have been altogether different than how you responded.
Here's what she did that was slick. The last time I heard you know better was from Paula Ann Casey, a.k.a. my wonderful mom.
Yes.
And I was 7.
Hey, mama. Yes.
Right? I was 7. And I knew better. Don't you ever come out of your class with that yogi voice, condescend. You know better. Which is sometimes worse than this for me, right? Because it's that passive aggressive thing. So telling me I know better was step one that was really, really wrong for me.
Okay.
Don't come at me that way. Again, would you come at Becky that way? I doubt it.
Yep.
So again, man, not to make this all about the DJ yoga show, but
But it's a broader thing, right? It's illustrative.
it always is for
But so,
us.
all right, so flip it. Like, there are times when I've been out of pocket, right?
You
When I can't think of a good example right now, but I know that there have been situations where I knew that I knew that I knew what was going on in the situation, and I moved with that conceit, only to realize, oh snap, I got it way wrong, and now I'm completely out of pocket. And the
yeah.
people on the receiving end were like, it's cool, bruh. We all could tell that you was on one. No biggie. We gonna keep it pushing. And that's a version of grace, right? As you, and
It is.
there's nothing, there's no more sinking feeling to realize you standing on business and on principle, and you're on the wrong rock,
It
right? Like
is.
you
It
fully
is.
like, oh shit, I thought I was standing over here. I got it way wrong, and I look crazy, and no one called me out for my craziness. And so I do think there is something to, particularly the older that I get, the more I'm trying to find the mellow in me before I respond. And so taking a beat, taking a deep breath is definitely something I've been working on a lot more so that I'm not easily triggered. Because invariably, when I get wronged, like you were wronged in that situation, the trigger that causes to me respond is probably disproportionate response, right? Like I got a sharp mouth and a quick brain, and my reflexes are quick. And sometimes before I know it, it's out, and now they're bleeding. And I don't mean it to be that, but you know, you irked me and offended me and disrespected me, and my response was responding in kind, but it lands in a much heavier way. And I'm mindful of not wanting to do that as I get older in my life.
I think it's a heck of a lens to consider because let's just start with I was wrong. Right? That's the beginning of it. Is what I did
Yep.
wasn't appropriate for a yoga class.
Yep.
There is a way to alert me of that information. There's a way to tell me that.
Yep.
She stumbled like a mug on that. She
But
stumbled
she
like
was
a
not the
mug.
instructor, is that right?
She definitely wasn't the instructor because the instructor had left the room, which is why I thought it wasn't Shavasana because she usually closes out with us. But she left the room and said, I'll be back. So I'm thinking this is the best time for me to leave so I don't disrupt those folks during, because there's no clock. Like you don't have that sense of. So no, but I believe she was in the class, taking the class, and is also either an owner slash instructor. And yeah, it was weird, man. It was weird. And I was wrong, but give me the opportunity to say that as well before you tell me you know better and treat me like I'm Lil Deej in Miss Doster's homeroom.
How do you feel about being sunned?
Uh, I think you've seen it.
I wasn't there that particular day.
I
I
think you've
wasn't there
seen
that
it.
particular day, but I have seen it in action.
Okay. With the fundamental premise, you know what I'm about to say. I despise a bully.
Yes.
And I despise a bully. So there are versions of that feel like being sunned to me.
Okay.
I despise seeing people bullied,
Yep.
and I despise bullies, man. So anything that feels you're singling me out and
Yep.
I can do this to you, we start with a problem.
Are bullies ever deserving of grace?
Once they decide they don't want to be a bully anymore. Because grace comes with I got to give you grace for past performance as well. Like if I've seen you act a fool and you just tell me now I'm no longer that person, that to me, giving you a second chance is extending grace. And I'll say this about grace first. I've had to learn to give myself grace
Sure. Sure.
as well. And that's where I think it honestly starts.
Sure. Sure.
And I'm really hard on myself, man.
Sure.
And I'll beat myself up. So I've had to start with that And then it allows me to extend that to others as well, man. And I'm not saying, hey, I'm Jesus on earth and I'm the one that's walking around extending grace. But how you treat me is really important.
Yep.
How
Yep.
you treat me is really important.
Yep.
So I feel like this has been the DJ show, man. It was not intended to be that.
No, no. I mean, every story that we tell on here is illustrative of a broader thing. Whether or not we share equal examples, that ain't the thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, I be
Nam-
talking all the time anyway.
Namaste.
Um, here's it's funny you say that. I flew this past weekend. I was traveling, and I'm on a flight coming cross country, and I'm in an aisle seat, and next to me is a couple with a daughter. Now, the daughter, in my estimation, too big not to have her own seat, which is a whole different thing, but whatever. She was verbal. She was at least 2 years old. I don't know what the rules are these days. But nevertheless, there's the dad sitting next to me. There's the mom at the window and the daughter sitting on the mom's lap. And at some point in time, the daughter's on a screen, watching something on, I think, one of their parents' phones, and she's splayed out over her parents, and she kicks me. The daughter kicks me, and the dad immediately, my bad, I'm sorry. Not
Yep.
10 minutes later, the little girl is on the phone, and she throws the phone, and it hits my leg. She's not throwing it at me, but she's just wilding. And again, the mom and dad are very apologetic. And I recognized in the moment a couple things. One is my kids would never, they ain't perfect, but we ain't never in that situation where you bleeding over into somebody else's experience. That ain't how we do it around here. Tighten up. But more importantly, can you extend grace by proxy? Like, because the parents were so cool, I didn't lose my cool as related to this little badass kid who was all over the place. And so as I think it through, I do wonder how much of our extending second chances and space for people to figure it out can be done via third party.
Yeah, I think so. But I think apologizing is only part of the formula.
Okay.
How are you managing behavior is the other part. If your kid's going to get on the next flight and still do the same thing and you solve it via an apology, you're still impacting other people's experiences. So, yeah, you can apologize, but you can't run around roughshod either. Nor can Lil Peanut, whoever it is, write this. So how are you managing the kids' behavior is my question. Check, I got your apology, but you just poured coffee on me or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So,
He almost not my coffee. That would have been a problem.
see. All
That would
right.
have been a problem.
And I love kids, but I also love proper behavior.
That's a whole tagline. That's a whole tagline.
Hey, man, I still got a little innovation in here.
Can I share one thing with you before we get out of here?
100.
I think the reason why I asked about proxy, I think in your situation, based on how you describe it, there's an opportunity for you to talk to the yoga instructor.
That I will do. And I thought about that.
That's where your apology lands most
100%.
impactfully and gives them a chance to
Yes.
talk about their process. I left the room. I could see how that might have been a little change. And then you can share with her what happened afterwards
I
so
will.
he or she is aware of it.
And I actually was hoping she was around as I was leaving. She wasn't. So that's actually my goal because I really don't care as much about homegirl as I do respecting the other young lady's class.
Yeah. Let this be a lesson to you, boys and girls. Talk to DJ the right way and everything will be smooth.
That's wow. Hey, namaste, everyone.
I love it. Thank y'all for watching Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. Check us out on YouTube or wherever you get your favorite podcast. We need you to subscribe, like, rate us, let us know what you think. We dig the show. We hope y'all are digging it too. Have a great day.
Mama made it.